everybody. Welcome back to the 5th episode of the Off the Bench podcast. I am Stephen Fay, and I am joined by
Riley Gazella.
And once again, this is being recorded in the top floor of the Van Wagenen Library in our very own TV studio. We are going into school sports, and we're not finally, but we are transitioning into some new sports that have started this weekend. But lastly from the fall, women's volleyball did lose in the NAC tournament, championship tournament, 3-0 to Maine Maritime Academy. And that ends the season for women's volleyball. And that shuts the door on fall sports until next year. But over the weekend, men's swimming and diving and women's swimming and diving both opened their seasons at Utica College quad meet. So those seasons are underway. Women's basketball, they lost their season opener to Alfred University, 71-47. Men's basketball did not start yet, but they are ranked 5th in the 2021 NAC Western Division preseason coaches poll. So we have some new stuff starting, and all the fall stuff seems to be over. And that's about it.
Yep. Very exciting for winter sports to come.
Yeah. Especially basketball.
Yeah, it should be fun this season. Coming back from COVID and everything, should be a good season.
Yeah, we're going to have to catch a few games.
Yeah. All right, so I think we'll get into football as we usually do. Thursday night game was in Indy. It was between the Jets and the Colts. The Colts won 45-30. The great quarterback, Mike White, ended up getting injured early on. And the backup from San Diego, Josh Johnson, came in, threw a career high, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns. He looked really good for being, the third-string quarterback on the Jets. He's been all over the place the past 10 years. He was on Tampa Bay. He was on Washington. He was really everywhere. The Colts won by 15 in a very high-scoring game. Wentz looked good, 3 touchdowns, 272 yards. Jonathan Taylor had a great game, 172 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. And the Colts looked good. They rolled on and got the win they were supposed to.
The Jets are a mess at their quarterback position.
Yeah, I think Zach Wilson's supposed to come back soon, but they're not going to play unless he's 100% healthy. And I have no idea Mike White's status yet. So it might be Josh Johnson's week again. But
Yay. Another exciting week of Jets football.
The Jets play the Bills next Sunday. So we'll see what happens to that. Speaking of the Bills, they had the biggest upset loss of the Sunday. Well, a bunch of upsets, about 4 or 5 upsets on Sunday. They lost to the Jaguars in Jacksonville 9-6 in a very crazy game for Buffalo. The offense could not get anything going against the Jaguars, which was very shocking. Defensive end Josh Allen sacked quarterback Josh Allen. It was the first time ever a player, same name, sacked another player, same name.
That's right. I forgot there's a guy in the Jaguars named Josh Allen.
Yeah, that was the big headline of that game. Josh Allen went off. The Jaguars, Josh Allen. He also had an interception, a fumble return, and a sack. So he had the hat trick there.
Imagine paying money for that game, 9-6.
I mean, the home team got the win. So
I know,
that matters.
But that must have been such a boring game.
Josh Allen looked really bad. The quarterback, Josh Allen, looked really bad. He had 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Bills offense had no touchdowns. Crazy loss. Game that they should not have lost to. Jacksonville gets their second win of the season. Their first win in the United States in over 420 days.
That's right, because their win was in London. That's a funny stat.
So, Trevor Lawrence looked all right. C.J. Beathard came in after Lawrence. Looks like he hurt his ankle really bad, but he ended up coming back in and finishing the game. He had no touchdowns, no picks. It was a very defensive-heavy game. The early defense stood up for Jacksonville. Again, defensive Josh Allen on the Jaguars had a phenomenal game. Best game of his career so far. And we will move on to another riveting game with the Dolphins beating the Texans 17-9 in a battle of 1-7 teams. Really not much coming from this game. Tyrod Taylor actually came back for Houston. He had a horrible game. He had no touchdowns, and he had 3 interceptions in his first game back.
It's because they didn't start Davis Mills.
Yeah, Davis Mills did not play. Tyrod Taylor had the start, 3 picks. Really no highlights from the Texans side. Jacoby Brissett ended up starting. Tua was not ready. He hurt his finger. He had a touchdown, 2 picks as well. Jalen Waddle had a good game, 83 yards receiving on 8 catches. And it was a battle of 1-7 teams. It was 17-9. That was all really from that game.
Really riveting game.
A good game that came down to the wire was the Falcon Saints game. The Saints just lost Jameis Winston to a torn ACL for the season, so it was Trevor Simeon's time. It was a good game. The Falcons ended up winning 27-25 on a great catch by Cordell Patterson in the final seconds. It was like a 60-yard grab. Younghoe Koo had the game-winning field goal as time expired. And the Saints might be in the market for a quarterback now.
I saw something that was the dude's third game-winning field goal this season.
Yeah, Younghoe Koo is a very good kicker. He's
that's crazy.
He doesn't miss.
The third game-winning field goal of the season.
Yeah, the Falcons moved to 500 and actually ended up in the playoff position after yesterday's win. And I think the real winner of this game was the Buccaneers because with the Saints loss, they did not move into first place. The Bucs still in first place. I read this week that Phillip Rivers said that if the Saints want to give him a call, he'll listen. So that's kind of interesting to me. Really? I like Phillip Rivers.
I thought he was coaching high school football. That's probably done, right?
And he's probably done, but it's also high school. You're gonna leave. I would leave high school football to go play quarterback for the Saints.
I guess so. I feel bad for the kids, but
no, I think the season's over anyway. It's in the middle of November. It was a good one for the Falcons. Definitely a must win to keep in playoff contention, and it was a good game in New Orleans. One of other upsets today was the Giants defeating the Las Vegas 23-16 in MetLife Stadium. The Raiders coming off an emotional news with Henry Ruggs and the whole situation there with the DUI and unfortunately killing someone in the process with his car, which was not very good for the Raiders or Henry Ruggs or anything. But it was very emotional for the Raiders. Daniel Jones did not look. He looked very average. 110 yards, only one touchdown pass. Devontae Booker had 21 carries for 99 yards. Evan Ingram had a good catch, had a touchdown, which really shocked a lot of Giants fans. But very quiet on the receiving front from Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney, who the Giants really expected to pick up everything. The Raiders now fall to 5-3 in the year. The Giants get their third win of the season. And we move up to another game. The Patriots went into Carolina and won 24-6. And it was a good game I watched some of this game. Mac Jones looked good. I mean, his stats only say 139 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, but he looked comfortable in the pocket. He looked really comfortable.
He's looked good. I mean, a lot of games he's looked really good.
Mm-hmm. He's looked good. Sam Darnold had a horrible game. 172 yards and 3 picks. I don't think Darnold's the answer in Carolina after the first few weeks. McCaffrey came back, only had 52 yards rushing on 14 carries. He still had to get back into the groove. But the Patriots might be, they might sneak in the playoffs. They might do something. Bill Belichick's still coaching there. He's defensive-minded. And if Mac Jones was kind of leading the way and stepping up, they might, sneak in and do some damage.
And Darnold really fooled the whole Panthers fan base in the first, 3 weeks.
Yeah, Sam Darnold had a horrible game. It was not a good game. 3 interceptions in Carolina. And, now Carolina's going to be in the market probably in the offseason for a quarterback. The deadline already passed. They didn't trade for Watson. So they might trade for Watson in the offseason. The deal arises.
Yeah, if everything clears up.
Mm-hmm. Another upset of the week, probably the second upset after the Jaguars-Bills game, was the Broncos going into Dallas and just dismantling them. 30-16 in Dallas. This was Dak's first game back. He did very bad, very rusty. It was just pre-injury Dak. He had 2 touchdowns in garbage time with 5 minutes left and 1 pick. He did not look good. The entire Cowboys did not look good. Defense did not look good. Teddy Bridgewater had 1 touchdown for 249 yards. Javonte Williams had 111 yards rushing. Melvin Gordon had 80 yards rushing, and they just kept running over Dallas. They just kept running and running and running, and Dallas' defense had just no answer, which was shocking. The only highlight for Dallas' defense was Micah Parsons had had 3 sacks, the rookie from Penn State. So that was a very big upset as Dallas fell at home. A blowout was Cleveland defeating Cincinnati 41-16 in Cincinnati. The Bengals losing to the Jets really did not do it good for their mental health.
No, they were now they're in the bottom of their division.
Yeah, Joe Burrow did not look good. He only had 282 yards passing and 2 interceptions. Joe Mixon had 2 touchdowns for the Bengals. Baker Mayfield had a great game, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nick Chubb, 137 yards rushing with also 2 touchdowns. And the Browns really just, from the start of it, it was 24-10.5, and they just kept rolling. And it was a big win for the Browns, and another back-to-back losses for the Bengals.
Speaking of the Browns, released Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, after the controversial with did you see his dad's video? Odell's dad made like a highlight video of how open Odell was in games and just made it into a video, and he posted it online. And Odell today ended up being a free agent on the waiver. So I was curious who's gonna pick him up. I have no idea who's gonna pick him up. He's gonna cost some money. So
I feel like the Packers could use him.
They could. The Packers
could just go back to the Giants.
He could. The issue is that he's gonna cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they might no one might claim him, and they might just rework a different contract with whoever wants him. But the Browns let him know that like we don't really need you. After he scored 41 points after releasing him, they really showed like you weren't the issue. Maybe you were the issue. So that was a big issue in the locker room, which comes down to. And when we ruin the chemistry, it's just not worth it. So we'll see. I'm curious where he's going to end up though, because he's going to go somewhere. I just don't know where. I was thinking Oakland, but Oakland signed Deshaun Jackson today, so I don't think it's going to be Vegas. I don't think it's going to be Vegas anymore. The later afternoon games, the Chargers went into Philly and won 27-24. Great game for Justin Herbert, 356 yards and 2 touchdown passes. He looked really good. Only 6 incompletions. He was 32 for 38
That's
in
crazy.
the air. Keenan Allen had 104 yards receiving, and it was overall a really good game.
How did Hurts do?
Hurts 162 yards passing and a touchdown. Devontae Smith had 116 yards and a touchdown. He had a great game.
Yeah, finally.
Jordan Howard had most of the carries. He had 17 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown. It was a good one for LA. They moved to 5-3 on the year, keep pace in the division, and the Eagles moved to 3-6 and they're kind of distancing themselves from the NFC East.
The Giants and the Eagles the same record. The Giants are they win again. They could sneak up to second spot, but I don't think they can catch up to the Cowboys.
No, it was a bit. I mean, Dallas losing to Denver though helped the Giants and any hope that they have to win the division.
Yeah, but I don't think it's possible.
No, I think Dallas is going to hang on.
Unless Dallas just loses every single game from now on.
Yeah. Another game was Baltimore coming back and beating the Vikings. That was a big game for Baltimore to come back in, and really just proving that Kirk Cousins may not be the answer in Minnesota. Lamar Jackson had 266 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I think you said that last week too.
I mean, they blew a big lead. They were up.
Oh no,
big.
you said Kirk Cousins is bad in the primetime games.
Oh yeah, he's horrible.
He hasn't won.
Games.
You said he hasn't won a Thursday night game in his career.
Yeah, he just not. He's just not good. It just wasn't a primetime game. This is a 1:00 game. But they were down 24-10 at half to the Vikings on Sunday and came back and rallied and won in overtime, 34-31. Lamar Jackson had 21 carries for 120 yards himself and 266 yards throwing.
It's ridiculous.
Marquise Brown had 116 yards receiving. Devontae Freeman, who used to be on the Falcon to Giants a long time ago, had 79 yards rushing. Le'Veon Bell had a touchdown, 48 yards rushing, which is weird to say Le'Veon Bell's name as a Raven. So moving on, we have the Cardinals defeating the 49ers 31-17 without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. So it was an impressive win in San Francisco for Arizona, who just keeps rolling, and they are now 8-1 on the year. Colt McCoy, 249 yards and a touchdown, and I haven't said Colt McCoy's name in a very long time.
You said it last week, though.
Former Brown, 2010 NFL draft pick. Bounced around on the Niners, the Redskins, the Giants, and now the Cardinals. Had a great game. James Conner, 96 yards and 2 touchdowns, finally doing what he's supposed to do. Christian Kirk with 91 yards receiving. James Conner also with a receiving touchdown and 77 yards in the air. Then Garoppolo did all right. 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. George Kittle came back, 101 yards and a touchdown, which is good for his return. Brandon Ayuk also with a touchdown, but the Cardinals now moved to 8-1, and they looked good without their top receiver and top quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Colt McCoy.
Another game was in Kansas City, the Chiefs defeating the Packers 13-7. Jordan Love's first NFL start due to Aaron Rodgers having COVID and not playing this week. The Chiefs just don't look good. They still don't look good at home against Green Bay. First career start for Jordan Love. Mahomes only had 166 yards and a touchdown. They got the win, but they don't look the same at all. The defense actually did something, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like I don't know what's going on. They don't.
I think they caught up to the Chiefs getting blown out in the Super Bowl to the Buccaneers is the same game. The NFL teams figured it out. It's just like when the Rams lost to the Patriots a couple years ago in the Super Bowl. Then they figured out Sean McVay. Rams had an average season the year after because teams figured it out. Then Sean McVay adjusted, so now they're doing good. I think it's the same with the Chiefs. The Buccaneers exposed them. Now teams are figuring out how to stop Mahomes and everyone. And now it's Andy Reid's job to adjust and get back on track.
It's definitely not their year, though.
No, it is not. They moved to 5-4 on the year, and that division is really up for grabs.
Yeah, I know. I saw it was like 3 teams are 5-4.
2 teams are 5-3. 2 teams are 5-4. Chargers right now are on top. They're 5-3. Raiders are 5-3. Chiefs, Broncos are 5-4. Jordan Love didn't look that bad. He missed a lot of open receivers, but as the game went on, he got more comfortable. He had a touchdown, 190 yards and a pick. And that was all really from Green Bay. Last night was the Rams lost to the Titans 28-16 in LA. No Derrick Henry for the rest of the season was not an issue for the Titans as they signed Adrian Peterson last week. He had a touchdown. He only rushed for 21 yards, but did have a touchdown. Matt Stafford looked really bad, 294 yards. He threw 2 horrible interceptions. One was returned and one was almost returned. The Rams at the end slowly started to figure out the Titans' defense, but it was way too late as the Titans rolled 28-16 in LA and the Rams dropped to 7-2. The Titans moved to 7-2. Overall, the Rams were out of it from the start. They had early 3-0 lead, but after that, they just fell apart. Stafford did bad, and the defense took way too many penalties, had over 110 yards in penalties for a team that's really did not get penalized a lot this season. It was a bad loss for the Rams. And tonight will be the Bears in Pittsburgh take on the Steelers. I don't know who's going to win that game. I want to say Pittsburgh's going to win, but the Bears sometimes surprise you. And Justin Fields surprises you.
I'm thinking that maybe I don't want to say it, but I feel like maybe this will be the game that that Pittsburgh finally gets like Chase Claypool really involved, because the Bears are not good. So I don't know. I feel like the Steelers should win.
The Steelers should win tonight.
That should be a win. They
should win tonight. They should win tonight. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I think they should win tonight. I think the Bears are just not good. Dave Montgomery is playing tonight though. They activated him out the IR, which is a huge boost for the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be a close one. I do think the Steelers just went out though in a close game.
Yeah, either Claypool is gonna have a big game or Najee Harris is gonna have a big game.
Yeah. Overall, there's a lot of upsets this week in NFL. A lot of upsets.
Yep.
Justin Herbert led all passing with 356 yards. Jonathan Taylor all rushing 172 yards. Cordell Patterson all receiving yards, 126 yards receiving, which is crazy. Again, his big catch at the end really put the Falcons in field goal range, and Young Wake, who had the game-winning kick. Overall, it's a good week of football. Week 10 should be good. I'm excited for Week 10 as we are just get over the halfway point of the season somehow already. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost over.
Yeah, we're a little over halfway. The Ravens play Miami Thursday night in Miami, and I'll start the week.
It's probably not going to be a very good game.
No, I think the Ravens will win, but we'll see.
All right, so we have about 10 minutes left here. So you want to run over hockey?
Yeah, I'll do hockey quickly. The Panthers still have not lost in regulation. They are 10-0-1. They take on the Rangers tonight. Sergei Bobrovsky is questionable, so is Alexander Barkov. So it's an MSG. This could be one of the nights that the Panthers finally lose a regulation game. One of the craziest goals you'll ever see was Connor McDavid over the weekend against the Rangers in Edmonton. Dangled through four the Rangers defense into the zone, and just absolutely made Shesterkin stand on his head. It was absolutely insane. McDavid with probably one of the goal of the year so far, and the Oilers ended up coming back down 4-1 and winning that game 5-4 in overtime on a Leon Draisaitl goal. I'm sorry, 6-5 in overtime. Leon Draisaitl had the goal. I'm sorry, not Shesterkin. Alexander Gorgiev was in goal, but still. You should see Gorgiev's face after McDavid scored that goal was actually really funny. He was just in utter belief.
Yeah, when you showed me the video, and I was like, what the how?
And McDavid's face after was insane too.
How do you keep the puck with going through 4 guys?
McDavid is a generational talent, and he's absolutely insane. The Oilers moved to 9-1 on the year with 18 points. They're having a phenomenal start to the year. Draisaitl has 23 points on the year. McDavid has 22 points on the year, and that duo is just unstoppable. Like, one of them's going to win Art Ross, and I don't see either of them falling down in points because they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do and exceeding expectations. For goalie-wise for hockey, Jacob Markstrom on the Flames has his 4th shutout of the season already. Ilya Sorokin has third shutout over the weekend, Saturday night in Winnipeg. In a game the Islanders won 2-0. And Sorokin, his second year in NHL is already doing phenomenal. Already 3 shutouts on the year. He did not get the start last night. It was a back-to-back. Semyon Varlamov came back for the Islanders, who lost the game 5-2 on 2 Islanders to end the game. Blew a 2-1 lead in the third. Only 3 more games on the road before the Islanders finally go home.
Yeah,
13-game road trip.
That should be good. I think maybe, I don't know, you think that'll boost their morale more once they finally get in there and finally
they're 5-3-2 in the year. They're doing what they're supposed to do on a 10-game road trip so far. 5-3-2 is acceptable so far.
I'm sure it must be playing a toll on them though, playing on these road games.
There's a lot of breaks in between. So right now they played last night. They're off till Thursday. Last week they played Sunday. They're off till Friday. So they're going back to Long Island. They're resting, and then they're going back on the road. So it's not like continuous game. Last night was their 3rd game in 4 nights, and last night they looked really tired towards the end of the game.
Are they going home? Like
between
these games, or
last night they were
still just staying on the road?
Last night they were in Minnesota, and Thursday they're in Jersey, so they're going home, and they're just gonna travel Wednesday. That's what they did last week. They had a game between Vegas and Nashville, but they had 5 days off in between, so they went home. It's a lot easier for the teams just to have home.
Yeah.
Just to go home for a few days to go back on the road. But that is all the hockey for this week. Looking forward for another week of hockey. It's a very exciting season so far, and it's good so far.
That's good. Very small baseball stuff. And if baseball's over, it is over. I don't know. I'm sad. I love baseball, but the Braves did win the World Series. Thank God. I'm so glad they won. It would have been such a bad look if the Astros won. I'm very happy for Freddie Freeman. He's one of my favorite players in the MLB. He's just looks like a genuine good dude to hang out with. I'm happy he won. Jorge Soler got the World Series MVP, which is crazy. The Braves won. I don't know if they'll repeat. I mean, it's been a really long time since someone's repeated. But yeah, I don't know. The Braves did look really good. Max Fried looked really, really good. Seems like he's going to be one of the best up-and-coming young pitchers in the league. He looks insanely good.
The Braves won the World Series 4-2 in Houston. That's Houston's 2nd World Series loss in 3 years at home, which is always good for everyone to hear. They lost the Nationals 2 years ago. I do not think the Braves will repeat. They are getting Acuna back, but again, it's a very long season. It's very hard to repeat in MLB.
I feel really bad that he couldn't play a part in the World Series.
He got a ring.
I know, but I'm sure. If I was him, I feel a little bummed. I didn't really help my team.
Yeah, but you don't know what he did in the dugout. All the tips he gave hitters.
Yeah,
we don't know the behind the scenes he did. He's Acuna is a leader, and he definitely had an impact on the season after he went down too.
I have a feeling if he would have played, that series probably would have been over a lot sooner.
Yeah, well, no idea. But Acuna does get his first ring, even though he hasn't played in a few months with a torn ACL. But he definitely worked behind the scenes with the coaches and the players and definitely impacted in as much way as possible.
So we have about 5 minutes left, and we are going to just shortly talk about some basketball things. LeBron is out for 4 to 8 weeks with an abdominal strain. The Lakers look like a disaster. I don't know what your thoughts are on the Lakers.
They're still adjusting. I think they'll eventually adjust. I think Westbrook will take over the next few weeks. They play the
looks
Hornets
terrible
tonight, but I think AD and Westbrook could work. It was bad every time before LeBron got hurt. So, but
Westbrook looks awful. He had probably one of the worst games of his career in the last game. He shot 1 for 13.
yeah, he either looks really good or looks really bad. There's nothing to do with them so far, but he's statistically been known to like do bad early in the season. Like he does not do good until the middle of the season.
And his jump shot's gone.
Yeah. I mean, the game before that, he had 27 points in back-to-back games before the game against Portland. So
yeah, but
still early season. The Lakers are 5-5 on the year. I'm not worried yet. All you gotta do is just make the playoffs, and LeBron and AD will take over.
Big news today, though: the Cavs lose Colin Sexton for
Yeah, that's going to hurt them because the Cavs are on a 7-4 start the season after beating the Knicks last night.
Colin Sexton, 47 weeks, torn meniscus. Well, 47 weeks, but it says no timetable for return, which
They're gonna take their time
sucks. Starting point guard, shooting guard. I don't really know what him and Garland, what positions they like are labeled as, but yeah, that sucks.
How long is he out for?
Says 4 to 7 weeks, but no timetable. Like that is a timetable, but it says 4 to 7 weeks with no timetable. So I don't know who wrote that article, but they did a terrible job. Yeah, that sucks. That really does suck. So I guess Ricky Rubio is going to be the starting point guard now.
Great game in New York.
37 points. Bing bong, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Really, the Knicks had no answer for him.
He shot 8 for 9 from 3, off 37 off the bench.
I like Ricky Rubio. I liked him on Minnesota.
Yeah, he's always been a solid NBA player.
No one talks about him. Now they are. Well, after his last game.
37.
Ricky Rubio.
Unbelievable. There were a lot of good performances over the week and the weekend. Jordan Poole seems to be showing out and proving he's like he deserves a spot. And I don't know about the starting rotation. Maybe he'll be small forward when Clay comes back.
Yeah, the Warriors are 8-1 without Clay.
Yeah, or James Wiseman. They're ranked number 1 in defense without
they're not letting up points.
Yeah,
like 94 points a game.
It's crazy. They look really good. Steph looks insane still.
Hot start to the season.
He's probably the front runner for MVP right now.
Yeah.
The Bucks are a mess. They are plagued with injuries. Drew Holiday coming off the bench with scattered minutes. Chris Middleton's missed 3 games. Brook Lopez is still out with a back injury. But some guys are stepping up. Grayson Allen stepping up. Jordan Wall is stepping up. There's not really much Giannis can do. I mean, they lose another game to Washington. Giannis has 29 and 18 rebounds with, I think, 4 blocks. There's really not much more he can do for the team. Yeah. I mean,
so much you can do without a supporting cast.
It sucks. It really does suck.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, still a lot of great guys had good performances. Lowry had a nice little triple-double for the Heat. Tyler Hero is playing really well for the Heat. The Heat look good besides that really bad loss the other night where they only scored 78 points in a game. It was like a 60s score. That was really bad. Jalen Brunson had a good game the other day. Rashawn Holmes had a really good game. I believe it was last night. He had 23 points and 20 rebounds. So some good guys are showing out for sure. Some good young performances. Luka had a crazy game winner. You see that game winner he had?
That was
crazy. Insane.
I love Luka. Man. I'm a big fan of Luka.
It's really all the big stuff from the week. I don't think we have anything else left to talk about, right?
I think that's it.
All right, I think so. So with that being said, we appreciate everybody watching. This has been very fun. If you guys want to learn more about our program here at SUNY Cobleskill, all the information is on the screen right now. You can go to our Instagram, our YouTube, and our Facebook page. And the hashtag sunycobycomm will also bring you to all 3 of those. But without further ado, that is all we have. And we appreciate everybody again for watching and enjoying our podcast. And we have a lot of fun doing it. Yep. So thank you very much. And we will see you next week.
Thank you, everyone.